It appears that Anna Kasparian from TYT has been, over the past year, I think, rubbing some people on the left the wrong way, more so the progressive left the wrong way, because some of the statements that she has made, whether it's been about homeless people, which I covered before, and some of the comments that she's made about the LGBTQ community, people who watch TYT, people who are part of that progressive base are sitting back and they're asking, like, what is happening to this woman? What is happening to TYT? Well, apparently she has now officially written a statement about leaving the left. So yes, this is her why I left the left moment. We knew it was coming. I think a lot of you knew it. And she is saying that she is independent and unaligned. So let's get into this. I'm going to tell you what I think is really happening here. Independent and unaligned. You're right. I've changed. So this is from Anna Kasparian. Here we go, folks. Oh boy. Oh boy. After Trump came onto the political scene, especially after he was elected in 2016, the us versus them mentality immediately took shape. Anyone who refused to resist Trump was seen as a threat to our country, and I was fully on board with that mindset. It all felt righteous at first, but eventually the tactics deployed to fight Trump became repetitive, boring, and ultimately fruitless. Polling shows that he has increased his support among Blacks and Latino voters, despite wall-to-wall coverage on his unsavory, racist, or bigoted remarks. Several years of media raising the alarm over Trump's threat to democracy has only resulted in a tight presidential race between himself and Kamala Harris. But you know what? That shows you just how bad the Biden administration has been. That shows you how people feel about the Biden-Harris administration. And this is why, again, I point back to this. Remember, Barack Obama was not ready to endorse Kamala Harris. He was even quoted saying he preferred an open primary, because I'm pretty sure he knew that it would be like this, that it would be this. And I don't even think it's as close as they saying it is, but he knew that she would have difficulty trying to beat Donald Trump, because she is still a part of the Biden-Harris administration. And a lot of people are frustrated with this current administration. I can't help but acknowledge that the only thing that was accomplished by resisting Trump was less understanding and more division among Americans. I personally became reluctant to challenge my side or engage with voters who disagreed with me. In turn, I became less knowledgeable about the people in the world around me. I saw Republican voters as an evil monolith, and that was a big mistake. This is something that was a big problem, I think, in the progressive space, where you were kind of told, like, by progressive commentators that, like, anybody who voted for Trump is racist or evil. I think at one point I remember Kyle Kulinski saying, like, people are going to try to tell you that Trump is like this greatest evil. He was like, but no, Bernie is a better option. So you should push for, Bernie. This was back for Bernie 2020. So that's when there still was a progressive presidential candidate. But since then, things have changed, because there's no progressive candidate that was able to win over what is ever left of the progressive base. Marianne Williamson, that wasn't it. And I told people about it early on. This ain't going to be it. So there was no one else to fill that Bernie spot that was able to garner as much support and energy from the progressive base like, the Bernie could. So what ended up happening is a lot of those channels that were able to grow off of Bernie Sanders' campaign found themselves kind of in a sticky situation, because now it was like, what do you do? Because Biden won. So you can't just use your channel criticizing Trump the whole time because he's not in office. And you can't push and promote Bernie because he's not running. Biden won. So what do you do? And this is where I think we saw some of them try to move over and defend Biden and push Biden and promote Biden to try to expand their base a little bit in order to grow their channels. And this was basically becoming the slow death of the Bernie Sanders movement that we saw happening. She goes on to say, I was told by, where am I? Sorry. Here we go. My evolution started in 2022 when I know about this, but she was sexually assaulted by a homeless man. She said in her neighborhood as she was walking her dog. The horrible experience alone didn't change me politically, but the treatment I received from the far left and some progressives after sharing the story did. I was told that by publicly sharing what happened to me, I was stigmatizing my unhoused neighbors. Others accused me of feeding into racist tropes because they assumed that my attacker was Black, but I had never even disclosed the man's race. He was white. So I just want to push back on this a little bit here. The pushback I think that she received about the criticisms that she gave about the unhoused community was her saying that they should be in jail. You know, so that was the pushback where she was saying, like, I'm tired of all these homeless people. They should just be in jail. Just lock them up. Just criminalize them. She was advocating for criminalizing homelessness. So that's where the pushback came from what I remember. I don't remember people pushing back because she was assaulted. I remember people pushing back because she wanted homeless people to be locked up. She goes on to say, not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some on the left, I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time. These terrible traits that I had associated solely with my political opponents were obviously not exclusive to their tribe. I was stupid for ever thinking that was the case. That doesn't mean everyone on the left thinks or behaves in the way that this small group of lunatics do. Far from it. But it doesn't mean that there are factions and flaws on both sides of the aisle and no one has a monopoly on truth. Then there was the insane reaction to one of my tweets in March 2023. Yeah, I remember this. A lot of people got mad after this one. So she tweeted, I'm a woman. Please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. So yeah, a lot of people, I do remember this. A lot of people on the left were very angry at her about this tweet. She goes on to say, all hell broke loose after I posted those words. Most friends in left-wing media didn't bother reaching out privately to discuss their agreement with my personal preference. Instead, many self-described socialists took it upon themselves to profit from conflict by publicly attacking me with monetized videos. The same thing that you did. So for those who are not aware of Anna Kasparian, TYT, etc., like, I don't want you to hear this and feel like pity, because the reality is she was doing the same thing. She was making videos about people too that were monetized and profit off of other people, calling other progressives certain names and things too. She did it as well. So everybody, let's just call it what it is. She did the same thing. Now, I guess she wanted those people to contact her privately. And I guess I do understand that. I don't know her. I've never met her. I've never interviewed her. I have never contacted her in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how to contact her. But I guess what she's saying is that the people who were friends with her, they should have just reached out to her privately instead of making videos about it. Now, to that, I will say this. It is kind of weird sometimes when I see people who I know are really close and they'll make a video about one of the others and attacking them and calling them names instead of trying to have the conversation in private. That to me is kind of weird. But when it's someone that you don't really know like that, or you're not close to or whatever, and you're criticizing them or whatever, or you don't have a way to contact them, I guess I understand that because you have no way of contacting them to have this conversation with them. But the reality is, I feel like Anna's trying to make herself seem like I'm a victim here because of the way the left treated me. And so here's my why I left the left story, and you should have pity with me and feel sorry for me or whatever. And I'm like, come on, because you've said some really nasty things about a lot of us. It's just reality. A small leftist. So she don't want to name the show. That's what's interesting too. She doesn't want to name the show. A small leftist YouTube show put out 5 separate videos skewering me about the tweet while conveniently erasing the advocacy I had done on behalf of the transgender community throughout my career. They even went as far as drawing a link between my tweet and trans, we'll say unalives here, which sadly wasn't the most unhinged outcome of the debacle. So I thought it was interesting how she just says a small left YouTube show. Nobody knows what you're talking about. You didn't mention those people. We don't know who you're talking about. You didn't say the name. TYT's volunteer YouTube chat moderators quit over the tweet, and someone reported me to HR. Oh no, not HR. So this makes me wonder, like, what kind of space is TYT? Like, it just sounds like, how is that any different from corporate media? You got reported to HR. Like, what is this? Like, what? I don't. Okay. An on-air transgender contributor even resigned from the company after being urged by online mobs and leftist shows to do so. Again, you have done the same behavior, Anna. Curious that not one of those shows hired her after she took their advice. That's probably because they don't have the resources that TYT does. That's probably because they don't have $20 million that was given to them by Jeffrey Katzenberg. And Anna knows this. I never apologized for the tweet, and I never will. That whole experience forced me to come to terms with the intolerance on the left, and it allowed me to publicly reject the ideological shackles that kept my world small and less informed. Today, I'm less certain and more curious than I was 4 years ago. I've made humiliating mistakes while covering political news because I was previously unwilling to consider or understand the perspective of Americans who vote differently from me. So apparently, she started this Substack now called On a Line, and she's gonna, write articles here. But let me tell you what I think is really going on here. So again, I think that there has been a shift. There has been a change after the Bernie campaigns. Again, like Bernie Sanders ran twice in a row. He didn't win in 2020. And after that, I think, like, for example, if Trump would have won again in 2020, then I think that Anna and some of the other shows that came from like that Bernie movement, they probably still would have been able to, make videos just bashing Trump and pushing and promoting Bernie Sanders. But because Trump lost in 2020, they again had to find, okay, what do we do now? Because Biden won. So a lot of them ended up jumping on that Biden train. TYT kind of has been all over the place since Biden won. They'll criticize him, but again, they'll say, but Trump is so bad and so horrible. And we can look at the channel here in just a second to show you as well how they're performing recently. But the reality is, here's what I think is trying to happen. It almost kind of seems like Anna is going to take on this Sagar and Jetty-like role on TYT for the Cenk and Anna shows, because Cenk Progressive was just running for president. We ain't gonna talk about that again. Was just running for president through the Democratic Party as a challenge to Biden at that point in time. He's ran for Congress himself about a year ago or so. He wanted to support Rick Caruso, who was, I guess, a former Republican who was running for mayor in Los Angeles at one point. And I think that what is happening now is that it seems like TYT may try to take a breaking points position where maybe Cenk Uygur is still there to represent, the Democrat side, and Anna's role may evolve into a role that is less attached to the Democratic Party and maybe will be more of an independent voice. So that'll pull over different viewers. And I think that it's interesting because I just remember like Anna in particular. some of the things that she said to those of us that just didn't want to support, like, just didn't want to continue along with this journey of trying to put progressive through the Democratic Party. I remember some of the things she said to us online. I'm still blocked by Anna Kasparian. I've never even talked to this person. It's really weird. I've never even talked to, so I'm still blocked by her on Twitter. It's kind of strange. Her views on policing also became kind of cringe over the past year or so. There's a number of things that she said that she knew she didn't advocate for, I would say, prior to Biden winning, the election. And I think that, she still has a number of positions that she's still good on. Like, she's still good on Israel, obviously, and Gaza, especially genocide. She's talked about what it's like for her people because she's Armenian and there was an Armenian genocide. So she's able to have some of that perspective. But it seems like to me that now some of the Bernie campaign channels are starting to try to figure out what to move to. And some of them jumped on the Biden wave and then the Kamala wave. And it's, I don't know. It really kind of makes you feel like people just don't really have true, like, feelings about the issues. That, like, they're just jumping on one thing to the next because that's what's going to help them grow. And I remember before I had this show, I used to think to myself that, like, I could never imagine some of the people that are pushing like Kamala Harris, especially considering the fact that we have a genocide. I could never have imagined those people going along with that. I could have never have imagined it. And these were people that, had told us, like, no, you gotta stand your ground, and people that said no, they weren't going to vote for Hillary, and people that said that no, I'm not going to vote for Biden. And it's just really weird. It's like all of a sudden they were able to just put aside Medicare for all, put aside the progressive policies that they claim to champion for. And I still support those policies and I still advocate for them. And those people will call me right wing. That's the crazy part. Whereas you guys have just accepted, oh, okay, no, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's just do anything Democrat because it's not Donald Trump. Now, if you look at TYT right now, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this, TYT has over 6 million subscribers, a lot. Like, they've been around for a long time, over 6 million subscribers. However, if you look at the content, and this is what I noticed. So let's go to videos. They have over 6 million subscribers. So let's go to a video that was released like yesterday, because I want to be fair. Let's not do one that was released today. If you have over 6 million subscribers, look at the view count. This video, Trump won't release his medical records, 84,000 views. Nurse's idea for curbing gun violence goes viral, 91,000 views. Those are a lot of views, but they have 6 million subscribers. Breaking Points gets more views than some of the, and I'll show you just by comparison. So you can see again, Hurricane Hysteria, 86,000 views. Judge doesn't hold back during MAGA County Clerk Centering, 125,000 views. 125,000 views is great. It's amazing. Again, these people get way more views than I do. But if you have 6 million subscribers, you should be, let's go to Breaking Points. Hold on. And we'll go to Breaking Points because it's newer and they have less subscribers, but their videos, let's go to videos. I just want to show you guys. And again, we'll do the same thing. We'll go to, we'll go to 3 days ago, I guess. So Breaking Points has 1.35 million subscribers, 1.35 million. Watch this. 3 days ago. This video, CBS ambushes Ta-Nehisi Coates over Israel apartheid book, over 140,000 views. The interview with Jill Stein, 79,000 views. We can go on. Shall I go on? Kamala slim lead in the tightest race history, 86,000 views. Amazon weaponized DOJ, 31,000 views. That was 6 hours ago, 2 days ago. So the point that I'm trying to make to you is this, folks. Breaking Points has 1.35 million subscribers, and they have more views than TYT does. TYT has over 6 million subscribers. So to me, that says a couple of things. Either people became bored with you. Maybe people got tired of hearing about Trump, 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 which I've heard that from people too. They're kind of tired of it. Or those maybe people that subscribed years ago just didn't unsubscribe. So I don't know, but it seems like to me, maybe there may be some type of pivot there, at least on Anna's end, and maybe that'll help them bring in other viewers. But I think we all knew this day was coming.